Happy Halloween, everyone. I'm aware that this looks absolutely ridiculous on my head. I didn't realize it was so big when I bought it, but I really wanted to get into the Halloween spirit today. I have always loved Halloween because I'm into, horror movies and scary shows, scary movies. And so I love the vibes of Halloween and just everything that's just creepy. I don't have a lot of decorations around me, but yeah, I feel like this is enough. I think this takes up basically the whole screen and I'll probably take it off. So enjoy it while it lasts. We are here to talk about My Hero Academia. Oh my god, the last 3 episodes have been just insane. Obviously the last 3 episodes, and if you haven't seen it yet, this does contain spoilers, so please go watch it first and then watch this. But the last 3 episodes have been centered around Bakugo, and I feel as though that is why it has hit so hard. Now, I didn't like Bakugo at the start. When he was introduced, he was just constantly screaming, constantly yelling, just belittling Midoriya, and he was just the biggest bully. He was. And I think maybe because when I was young, I was bullied as well. And so that kind of was just like the personification of a bully. And I've always just hated seeing bullying and like witnessing any type of bullying. I can't stand it. And I always need justice for the victim. And so I didn't like him at the start. But as the seasons progressed, he became one of my favorite characters, if not my favorite character of the whole show. And it only really hit a few seasons in. One aspect of Bakugo that really made his character shine through and like his personality start to blossom a bit and we start to see a little bit of the growth is the humor centered around whatever he says. And I don't think that it is intentional humor. I don't think he's trying to be funny, but what he says is like either on point or just absolutely hilarious. I remember the scene, and this is like one scene that I like is just in my memory of Bakugo when him and Midoriya were invited by Endeavor to the Todoroki's house to have dinner. And during the dinner, Todoroki family were just all talking about very personal and private things. And then Bakugo in the end he just flips and he's like so angry, being like, why are you talking about such sensitive topics when you have guests around? And then he was like going on about how now like he's grumpy because the food is all ruined because of like them talking about their private business. And that is just one of the funniest moments for me with Bakugo. But I think the turning point for me with his character was the pivotal fight that he had with Midoriya, where it was like in season 3, and he was expressing how guilty he felt and that he was like the one that made All Might lose all of his powers. I mean, this whole fight was just like one big therapy session between him and Midoriya, and it was such a big moment in their friendship, and it was like a pivotal moment in the development of their relationship. But not only that, I felt like it started to show glimpses of Bakugo's vulnerability. It was like a breakdown in this facade that he's had this whole time of just not caring about anything, when in fact he actually does care deeply. And he has a lot of pent-up emotions within him. So that for me was sort of where I was like, okay, Bakugo is showing a bit of growth here. Maybe he will grow on me. Like I didn't think, oh, he's not my favorite character, or oh, I really like him as a character. I still thought he was a bit of a brat. But it started to seep through a little bit there. Okay, these are coming off. I'm done with those now. I can't have them on the whole thing. I really can't. It's hurting my head. The next really big moment for Bakugo was in season 6 with the scene where he is apologizing to Midoriya for the way that he treated him. He was explaining how he always felt inferior to Midoriya because of Midoriya's strength. And for me, I feel like he was projecting his own anger towards himself, and he felt the frustration and anger of his own weaknesses, and he was just projecting that onto Midoriya in that moment. In the scene, Bakugo finally calls Midoriya by Izuku and not Deku, which he's been doing this whole time. And I don't necessarily think it means that he has now only finally, acknowledged Midoriya and is now respecting Midoriya. I think it's more that he's realizing that he has all along, and that his aggression towards him was fueled by his own insecurities. Now, that is some major growth and evidence of how much he's matured from the beginning. And it's interesting because it's like a depiction of how it's very common where there's bullies who will project their own insecurities onto other people. Like that is their main drive for bullying someone else and for bringing someone else into the ground, is to help them feel better about themselves. And I feel like that was depicted really well in this scene. When we reach episode 10 of season 7, where Bakugo tries to take on Shigaraki, his sacrifice in that moment, it hits so much harder because of those moments in development that I just mentioned before. In his last moments of dying, he reveals how he was such a brat when he first met All Might and like speaking to All Might, but that whole time he just wanted All Might's autograph, and he loved All Might so much. And him admitting that at the end was kind of like him now fully immersing himself into this like new character. And also him having a soft voice, like, is actually his normal speaking voice, which he did every now and then when speaking to Midoriya. But in that moment, it was so soft and it was just so real. Like, he was now showing his human side. I honestly think that this actually is my favorite scene out of all of My Hero, and that is a big call, but it's just, I was sobbing throughout that whole scene, and it made me just realize how much Bakugo had grown to that point, and how much I really, really now like him as a character, and how much I didn't before. And animes just have such a good way of doing that, where I'll just hate the character at the start, but just end up liking them in the end, even though they were just, I don't know, they've done some like awful things, or they've been such a bully. I'll just end up liking them in the end. But yeah, I'm still tossing up between if it's that scene with Midoriya, or if it's the scene where he like is resurrected and he's now defeating All For One. I can't decide which one it is, but I think it is the scene with him dying, because it hit me so hard. This all built up to the last few episodes of My Hero. The scene where Bakugo gets resurrected, all of the other developments led up to why this scene was so impactful. Bakugo is not giving up, and that is one thing about his character, is that he is not going to give up, and he's not going to go out without like a big fight, some massive explosion. And then the moment when Bakugo and Midoriya lock eyes, they knew that they had to save All Might. That was just their number one priority. I actually think my favorite scene out of all these episodes, these most recent episodes, because everything was just so crazy good, but the moment where Bakugo had just saved All Might, and then All Might gives Bakugo his armor, because that's all he had left to give him. And Bakugo had the most genuine smile on his face, the most genuine thing I've ever seen him do. Bakugo actually smiles quite a bit, but it's always like this really cheeky, devilish smile that he does if he's powered up or if he's beat Midoriya at some competition. This smile that he did, it was different. Ever since he found out that All Might had handed over his powers to Midoriya, he's always like expressed so much frustration. Like, why couldn't it be him? Why wasn't he strong enough? Why couldn't he be chosen? So now that All Might has given him something, it's like he feels he's finally being acknowledged by All Might, and it was just such a special moment to see. And it gave Bakugo a boost in his confidence and in his emotions, and I feel like that led him to then feel like he can do this, he can beat All For One. And then adding to the build-up of the moment was when Ed Sharp was saying how he was at the point when he was reviving Bakugo where he had to choose to either sacrifice himself or let Bakugo die. And then that's when Bakugo sweeps in and he saved himself. He was so strong, he was able to save himself. And that just shows that he is just not giving up in this battle. It'll take a lot to take him down. We then see Bakugo figure out this newfound strength, and Bakugo is really quick on his feet. Like, he's able to determine the situation and figure out a plan pretty quickly. Like, he's very smart. And so he figures out that he is able to use his pain to, step up and to like really make his explosions bigger and bigger. And that was like, he was in pain the whole time, but he was able to defeat All For One because he was like building on that pain. Only Bakugo would do that. Only he would use pain to like make it a better situation and to power himself up. I loved the moment when All For One was going on about how like, oh, Bakugo isn't a threat. And he was after Shigaraki because it's like, why should I even care about Bakugo right now? He doesn't have the same energy as All For One, as All Might or Dark Shadow, which, side note, him mentioning Dark Shadow in the same like vicinity as All Might just shows like, wow, Dark Shadow is actually like a really strong character. And of course he is, because you see that a bit with him fighting All For One. But like that really like made that, okay, wow, he's actually pretty strong. But yeah, sidetrack. Bakugo is like fast approaching All For One, and then he's just like, you still think I'm the side character, before proving that he is certainly not a side character. He is making himself the main character at this point in time. Like Midoriya is now in like the background. Obviously, I know that Midoriya is going to do some like incredible things, but he is the main character in his episodes, and he proves himself. Then in the last moment before defeating All For One, which the animation in these episodes have just been like off the charts. There's like those little scenes which I love when they do this, when it looks like it's a sketch, not like the animation style. It like goes into a full sketch, which shows the full impact of what they are doing. I absolutely love that. But then Bakugo kind of drops his ego and his self-centeredness that he's had this whole time. And he goes on to say that he was actually, this whole time, he was never alone. Even though he was always going on about like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to be the number one, I'm going to defeat this. He was actually never alone. And so many people were helping along the way. They were all doing this together to get to this point. He wasn't by himself in defeating All For One. Everyone was there helping defeat him. His character was done justice in these 3 episodes, and it perfectly depicted and rounded off how much Bakugo had grown. It was like his peak growth moment of like, yep, you know what? I'm dropping the attitude. I'm dropping my facade. We're all in this together. Those are just my thoughts on why I think these 3 episodes have just been so impactful. And it just feels like it is the peak of the season. Like that is the main battle, and we're not getting anything else. And that's it. That's just how it's going to be. But I know that there's so much more to come, and I'm so excited for the rest of the season. I'm actually really excited that this is the final season, because yeah, I love My Hero. It's a great show. As usual, let me know what your thoughts are. I'd love to hear some of your perspectives on the last 3 episodes and on Bakugo's character development, whether you think that there was like room for improvement, or yeah, if you just enjoyed it and if you now love Bakugo as much as I do. But otherwise, I hope that you all have a really great day. And I guess I have to finish this episode, finish this video with this one. I look absolutely ridiculous with this on. You don't have to tell me. I hope that you all have a really good day, night, a spooky Halloween, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.